Today's question is, what secret could ruin your life?
I secretly take off my hijab. On social media, I wear the hijab. In front of all my parents, other family, most of my friends, I wear a hijab. Here's my story. When I graduated 2 years ago, I decided to look for a job, and I wasn't able to land anything. I came up with the idea to start interviewing without wearing one, and once I get an offer, I'd start wearing it again. I ended up getting 2 great job offers, which made me really sad that my theory of taking it off and easily finding a job was true. I took one and haven't worn it to work at all. I don't know what happened in the mix of things. I guess I started to like the attention men gave me, and I actually felt like I belonged/normal with my peers. It was a feeling I've never felt. Everyone started treating me different, as if I was worth speaking to. I don't get weird looks anymore. I don't get asked weird questions. I'm too afraid to tell my parents about it because of disappointment, and I'm even more afraid of the Muslim community finding out. Bullying and talking shit happens a lot to girls who take it off. I wear it to family functions, and when I'm at a place where I know I can run into someone I know. So yes, in essence, I guess I am living a double life. Say what you want, I'm okay for now living like this. I keep changing my mind on what I permanent want to do. Some guy convinced naive 15-year-old me to send nudes and then used it against me for 6 months. He found me on Facebook and threatened to send them to my friends list if I didn't do whatever he asked me to. He would make me get online whenever he asked and have me masturbate for him. He even tried to get me to meet up with him in person. I got really lucky when his profiles just disappeared one day, and I took that opportunity to delete every social media account I had. I haven't gone back since, and I never will. It really fucked me up for a while, but I don't really have anyone to blame but myself. It's been 6 years since, and I still haven't told anyone I know this story. I get paid a 6-figure salary for a standard 40-hour-a-week corporate job for a massive well-known company. In a given week, I do maybe an hour of actual work. The rest of the time, I am on Reddit or YouTube slacking off. I thought when I got this job that eventually someone would figure out I don't do anything all day, but here I am 14 years later still doing fuck all and getting paid a lot for it. My cousin raped me several times. My grandmother passed away yesterday, and my father is making funeral arrangements and needs me there with him. I'm panicked because I need to be with my father, but that same cousin will be there. He will try again. I don't know what to do. I know it's easy to say don't be left alone with him, but who knows what he will pull to do it. He's insane. He's a bodybuilder. I'm a 5 feet 1 inch female. This is causing a serious strain on my mental health. In less than 24 hours, I've pretty much shut down completely. I called out of work because I cannot handle being around people. Edit. I did not expect this kind of response. Thank you to everyone who has encouraged me to tell someone, and fuck you to the one person that thinks it's super easy to do so. I'm 30. This started when I was 14. I spent summers with the family, and he always found a way to trap me. I would pretend that I was asleep, and I would tense up, but he'd do everything in his power, including, not limited to, using other objects to hurt me. My father and I weren't close for many years. We've only come back into each other's lives since my mom passed away, about 4 years ago. It's not exactly the easiest thing to come clean about, especially since it's his sister's son. This is upstate New York. My whole professional life is built on a lie, and it's about ready to come down. When I was 22, I was in a bad way, halfway through my bachelor's degree, but with a building addiction to opiates and some mental health issues. Summer of that year, I was in a bad car accident. In addition to broken bones throughout my body, my head went through the window and my face received severe lacerations that required hundreds of stitches to close and left me looking very rough. As tough as that was to deal with, I also now know that I sustained a traumatic brain injury that left me very confused, angry, and overwhelmed by life in general. I wanted to keep up appearances, so after taking 3 months off to recover, I tried to go back to school. Within the first week, I knew I couldn't handle it. Too many questions about what happened, too much anxiety, and I had lost pretty much all my coping skills. When I got overwhelmed, which happened often, I would feel sick and scared and literally forget where I was and what I was doing. It was frightening and embarrassing, especially for someone like me who had always had high expectations placed on my shoulders by those around me. I had lost pretty much all my friends at this point, and in my mental state, I thought that those who remained would abandon me if they knew how much I was struggling. So, I told everyone that it was going great. Every day I would leave the house for 6 hours and drive. Sometimes I would stop in a parking lot. Sometimes I would just keep driving all day. I would find cheap used textbooks at college bookstores so that I could bring them home and study. I created elaborate lies about my classes and my professors in order to have stories to tell when people asked how it was going. I kept telling myself that I was just doing this until my brain worked again, and that next quarter I would go back for real when I could actually handle it. Problem is, things just kept getting worse, and as time went on I became less able to get back on track. This went on for 2.5 years, until I was supposed to be graduating. So, I lied about that too. I forged transcripts and came up with stories of why I didn't want to work in the field of my degree and hoped to move past it. I got a labor job and slowly found things working themselves out as my brain chemistry improved, and steady work kept me from completely destroying myself. Eventually, I had to move. For the first time in over a decade, I was finally free of my opiate addiction and starting to feel part of the world again. But I was still carrying the lie of my college degree. I volunteered in some places related to that field, and they really liked me. They liked me so much, in fact, that they hired me on an emergency basis, no transcripts required, and I've worked there ever since. Now, 3 years into my sobriety and seemingly a lifetime removed from the pain of those years, they want to promote me to a career-level job that I would absolutely love. I'm so good at what I do, and it brings me so much joy. But this promotion would come with scrutiny and background checks that I know I can't stand up to. When I was so depressed, I honestly didn't think I'd even live this long. So while I knew that my lies could create this situation, I never prepared for it. Worse than losing this job would be having everyone around me find out what happened. So I am at a point now where I have to quit what I love because they like me too much. I plan to go back to school for real, and I think I'll do well. But the shame and regret of this situation is something I don't think I'll ever shake. A while back, I was cheating on my wife with a coworker. It went on for months, and I never really cared for the woman I was cheating with. She was super hot, though. After a while, my coworker started getting really crazy and threatening to tell my wife, whom I had a child with and a baby on the way, about everything. Obviously, I kept trying to cut things off because I realized I was making a mistake. She lost it one night and was freaking out and texting me telling me she was going to come to my house, and a drunk driver hit her. She died instantly. No one knows I was having an affair, and my family went to her funeral. Possibly the most relatable. I don't care about the company or my work beyond a professional level. I do my work well because I'm paid, but I'm not working extra for free. I don't buy into the mission at all, and the only reason I don't want the place to go belly up is so I don't lose my job. If corporate heard this, it could ruin your life because a lot of bought into / force feed the delusion that work equals life. Hell, I know people who have been clearly shoved out of companies because of this. Tech is real bad about it. This isn't to say that I don't work hard for my time, but I get paid for 40 hours. I work hard for 40. You expect 60? Pay me and I'll do it. But I don't care about the company or changing the world, so I won't do it for free. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. When I say this is a secret, I mean that if my coworkers and I said this to anyone in management, we'd be reamed, possibly fired, and could have our career ruined in the industry for not being motivated. I realize many people feel this way too. I'd say it's normal. But I called it a secret because we can't say it out loud to most people. Second, I'm not against working more than 40 hours, but I am against working without compensation. Right before roll out of a product, I can understand working 60 hours for 2 weeks out of the year to ensure it arrives on time, assuming that is baked into the compensation in some manner. But then when 60 hours a week becomes the norm for all 52 weeks but pay doesn't rise, then I have a problem. Similarly, I understand people who put in 80-hour weeks at a startup to get it running, and as part owners get multi-million-dollar returns. But don't expect me to do the same when you're paying me $75,000 a year. This secret is a bad one. When I was 15 and incredibly lonely one summer, I decided to make an OkCupid account. For those of you who don't know, that's a dating website for people 18 plus. I looked probably about 17 at the time, but I guess I could pass for 18. So I said I was 18 on my account. I got a lot of responses from guys instantly. There was this one that stood out to me. His name was James. He was a 22-year-old college student working at Tim Hortons, but me at 15 thought he was the most intelligent and beautiful person I've ever met. We talked for 3 months, and then he turned 23. Now the age gap was 8 years. After those 3 summer months of staying up all night, we decided to meet up in person. It was Labor Day weekend when we met up. He picked me up from a gas station and drove me to his house. We lived 3 hours away, and I told him that my car didn't work, but really I only had my permit and no car. I honestly think I fell in love with him, and we hit it off completely. He was really attractive and different from guys my age. Guys my age would make fun of how I looked because they were insecure themselves and tease me a lot when they were interested in me, which just confused me. But James would compliment me and joke with me, but never made me feel insecure. I really loved him. But when the relationship progressed, he was talking about having sex, and I told him that I was a virgin, which he was okay with. But after I turned 16, I realized that he was a 23-year-old man who could get in a lot of trouble if he was to sleep with me. I never told him my age because I knew he'd be disgusted with himself, so I just cut all ties with him all day. I figured it was selfish to keep him around. He needed somebody who could be 100% honest with him. So in March, I basically blocked him on all social media and my phone. He didn't know where I lived, and I never saw or spoke to him again. It's been 2 years, but I sometimes stalk his Facebook. He's actually engaged now and graduated college. I'm so happy that everything is going well for him. I'm only 18 now, but I hope one day I'll find a guy who is as great as James. Tildar. I made an account on a dating website at 15 and formed a long relationship with a man who was 23, lying to him about my age. I was picked on a lot in primary school. One kid, we'll call him Jonathan, got quite antsy with skipping ropes and used to whip me with them before chasing me with it if I ran away. He also called me some pretty horrible names. When I was 10 years old, the bullying was relentless and spread to multiple people bullying me. If I told the school, they would tell off the bullies, but the behavior would still continue. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. As Jonathan came charging towards me with his friends, ready to start whipping for lack of a better word, I stood rigid with a plastic tennis racket, and with all of my anger, spun in one complete circle. I didn't expect to move so quickly, nor for the racket to hit anything. I was quite weird and had poor hand-eye coordination when I was young, but the racket slammed straight to the side of his face, causing him to bleed quite heavily. He had to go home that day. I'm 17 now, and I've seen him a couple of times since. His head healed, but he sustained minor, temporary brain damage because of it. Prior to me reuniting with him, I genuinely thought I had killed him. I still hate how I caused all of this damage to him. Jonathan's friends were simply too scared to tell the teacher of what I did, for fear of how I'd react. Up until this point, I'd been intelligent, quiet, and secluded. When I suddenly snapped and attacked, it came as a huge shock to them. They mostly stopped talking to me as well. People may tell me to try and reconcile with him, but the truth is that I will never, ever forgive him for the crap he put me through for 2 years. Edit I, by brain damage, I mean minor damage. Nothing too crazy. His head did sustain a lot of damage in general, though. Edit 2, just to clarify, the damage was temporary, not permanent. Edit 3, thank you for the responses. I've spent all afternoon/evening reading and replying to them as best as I can. Edit 4, some of you guys sound quite baffled by the fact that I could have done such a thing. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that if you build up bottled up anger for a while, it would all eventually come out as one huge lash out. People have also been questioning how this could ruin my life. The guilt really messed me up during my teenage years, even up to now. It pales in comparison to other posts, but oh well. So, don't really know how to start this off, but I'm attracted to beds. It started somewhere during my early high school years, when I was really starting to discover myself. There was something about beds, the fact that when you go to sleep at night, you're always with them. Their purpose is to make you feel comfortable at night, when you're at your most vulnerable. Anyway, I modified my twin bed towards the end of high school, essentially tearing the fabric, shoving some pillows in the side, and make a little hole that I could insert myself into. I've always known that the behavior is odd, but I can't help myself. Nowadays, I live with my girlfriend. I don't have that twin bed anymore, but anytime we have sex, it has to be on a bed. If it's not, I can't get hard. Needless to say, if this got out, it'd truly fuck me over. Edit 1. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. Is this for all types of beds? What about hammocks? It's basically mostly mattresses in a room. I've basically figured out it's based around two things: comfort and safety. A hammock outside? Sure, that might be comfortable, but would I feel safe sleeping out there at night? No. If I threw some pillows on the ground in my living room, I'd feel safe, but not entirely comfortable. Why throw pillows on the ground when there's a perfectly good bed in the next room over? Does your girlfriend or the bed feel better? Actually, my girlfriend feels better. There's something about the warmth and comfort my manhood feels inside of her. A perfect amount of tightness that pillows can't provide. Mentally, though, part of my mind feels ashamed that my dick prefers my girlfriend. What did your parents think when they found the hole? I'm pretty sure they haven't. I basically tore some of the fabric from the box spring and attached some Velcro to it to cover the hole. I then put that side of the mattress against the wall. My room essentially is the same as it was when I moved out for college. Bed is still there, in the same spot, with the covered hole against the wall. I took out any stuffing before I headed off to college, so if someone stayed in my room, they wouldn't really notice a difference in comfort. Edit 2. When you're having sex with your girlfriend and you're in the missionary position chest to chest and ear to ear, do you stare at the bed or close your eyes? I imagine that I have a vastly different reason than others do for having a mirror above my bed. So do you watch porn that only takes place on a mattress, or is it just pictures of mattresses? I only watch porn in bed. Usually the porn I watch has a mattress, but it's not necessary. It is better though, like double dipping. Are you sexually attracted to your girlfriends, or is it an any port in the storm type of deal and you found somebody you enjoy being with that just happened to be a woman? This is a good question that I don't know if I'll ever have the answer to. I've been in a strictly sexual relationship with a first cousin for the last 5 years. We only ever saw each other once or twice a year growing up before she moved to the other side of the country, and then never really saw or interacted with each other again until 5 years ago when she moved back. What started as us meeting up once in a while has become a regular thing in the last few months. It's escalated to the point where we're now sexting each other. I'm scared to death of what might happen if anyone in our family finds out, but I don't want to stop what's happening either. Here's the story. It all started out very slow before it escalated into full-on sex. I was informed by another cousin of ours and asked to help her move since I was free at the time. We started hanging out throughout that summer, and then one afternoon we had brunch, and then went back to chill at her apartment. It was a super hot day, so we thought let's just go indoors and relax and watch some TV or a movie. I can't remember what we were watching, but we were chatting the whole time too. Just talking about our relatives and what we were looking to do with our lives and careers. After a while, she kind of just leaned on me and got comfortable, and I threw my arm around her, almost instinctively, and we're just hanging out like that for a bit. Eventually, she gave me a lingering look that was kind of asking, "What's happening here?" And we both went in for a kiss. We were both shocked that it happened, but we got over it fast and started making out and running our hands all over each other until my hand was up her skirt touching her through her panties, and then I realized what we were doing and stopped it from going any further. We both came to our senses and stopped before anything went any further. We decided to forget it happened and move past it, but every time we met up after that we'd make out and push our boundaries until we eventually ended up having sex. Afterwards, we were meeting up regularly until we both got really busy with work and only met up on occasion. We completely stopped when each of us had a significant other, but would start hooking up again every so often when we are single. As mentioned before, now it's become a regular occurrence where we hook up multiple times a week, and we've been sexting with each other now. Edited out, One thing led to another, since a good number of people were irked with that and elaborated on how it happened. Edit number 2. This really blew up. I've spoken to her since this was posted, and to address some of the comments, we are 100% taking every precaution to make sure that she does not get pregnant. She is on the pill and we use condoms. If for some reason she does get pregnant, we are both on the same page about an abortion and don't intend to have an incest baby. What we're doing is purely physical, and neither of us have any intention of pursuing anything beyond what is currently happening. Also, yes, I'm aware we can stop this whole thing and put an end to it, but that's easier said than done. At this point in our lives, we're both physically comfortable with each other and know what the other likes, so it's made it a bit difficult to just end it, especially since outside of us meeting up, we're both very busy with our lives and careers, so it's just convenient. We're both currently single, and as I mentioned before, if either one of us starts to date someone, we don't hook up. We both enjoy what we're doing, but the only issue we have is just the anxiety of being found out. We did agree to keep this a secret from friends and family because we're afraid that they wouldn't understand, and we don't want to deal with that potential shitstorm. She admits that she may have gotten a little too comfortable since this is the longest interval with us hooking up since this started happening, and is going to dial it back to make sure we don't accidentally out ourselves. And this is the end of today's video. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to comment an anecdote or experience similar to the topic of the video, leave your like, share if you liked the video, and lastly, don't forget to activate the little bell so you don't miss any of our daily videos. Bye-bye.